Hello and welcome to Phillies Unfiltered, along with my co-host Jim Russo. I am Brent Tracy. Welcome into the podcast. So, Jim, how are you feeling right now?
Well, it depends on the day. They went through a wave of emotions this past week of baseball. Early on was completely frustrated and felt a little better the last couple of days. How about yourself?
About the Phillies, fairly frustrated for the most part, but just so our listeners know, we're going to be dropping this week's episode Wednesday, a day later than we usually do, because I was feeling under the weather, and Jim was kind enough to work around that, and I am feeling better now, so that's good. But these things do happen, and yes, thank you, and we do work around it. So it's good to have everybody here to go along with us on this episode here. We're on episode 11, which is insane. We're just racking up the episodes. So, Jim, before we dive into the issues of the day for the Phillies, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
So, what Philly who left the Phillies and then went on to win a World Series is your favorite?
So it just took me a minute to think about. It's like thinking of people other than Curt Schilling, because he won a World Series in Arizona and one with Boston, I believe. But Hunter Pence comes to mind because we should have had one with him, and he was quirky. He fit the bill for what we needed at the time. We needed a right-handed hitting bat. And like his energy was contagious. He was just. He's like the ultimate little leaguer, but he's playing in the big leagues. He was a lot of fun to watch, and a fun little tidbit is I got to meet his dad when I was working in the city. I sold his dad a cell phone when I was working for a cell phone carrier back then. I would see him. I would see Hunter and his, I guess, then girlfriend walking through past the street, past the store, like that. Yeah, it's Hunter Pence right there. His dad came in. He called his wife a goose. That was a fun experience. But, I think Hunter Pence is that guy that comes into mind. Yeah, I mean, his dad was a trip. I believe his name was Howard.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the only guy that comes to mind that I can think of that he was a lot of fun to watch, and we should have had one with him when we made that trade.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. And actually,
And
that's who
what you got here?
That's who I had as well. But
okay.
I will say the other guy, even though he won one with us, I was really happy to see Chase win one when he left, Chase Utley. As much as I didn't want the Dodgers to win one, I was really happy for Chase that he was able to get a second ring, even though it wasn't with us. But outside of that, I mean, it's got to be Hunter Pence. I mean, he was such a cool guy. It's a shame that it didn't work out with us because he was just, he's not the type of guy you would show kids how to hit, like model him as a hitter because of how ridiculous his swings were. But he got bat on ball. He found a way to put the ball in play. And he actually, I think, said that. Like, this is not how you should teach people how to play baseball. But yeah, I mean, Pence for sure. And I'm going to give the nod to Utley too. Again, even though he won one with us, I was happy to see him get a second one.
Then if we're going with that kind of player, then Shane Victorino too. He got one.
Yeah, the Red Sox. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And
he had a grand slam for them that year too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man, he's Mr. Grand Slam in the playoffs.
Yes,
He had that one with us in the divisional series. Yep, for sure. So, all right, well, cool. I like that Pence story with his dad. That was a good one.
Yeah,
so.
No, it was a fun experience. I had a good time selling phones that I had.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, I guess let's get into the topics that we're here to discuss. And the first one I kind of wanted to just hit right away is we did get the news earlier this week that Kody Clemens was DFA'd. And ultimately, there's a period of time in there where the Phillies can make a decision whether they want to trade, just for people who don't know, trade him or release him. Ultimately, they decided to trade him to the Minnesota Twins, I believe for cash considerations. I didn't actually see the deal, but all expectations are that that's what it would be for. So he is there now, and Weston Wilson has taken his spot on the roster. Not a shocking move, but still a little disappointing, at least for me. I did like Kody, and he was a good guy, and not at all a bad player. Just the fit was not there right now. I mean, he's probably going to get more playing time in Minnesota, which is good for him, you know. So yeah,
Yeah,
what are
I
your thoughts
mean,
on that whole move?
good luck to him in Minnesota. He wasn't getting playing time here, and then when he was getting his at bats, he wasn't doing anything. It's probably because it was rust anyway. So hopefully he
Yeah,
gets that
4 or
playing
5
time
at
in
bats. It's
Minnesota,
going to
so
be
that way he
hard to.
can show them what he can do. Yeah, I mean, and he was 0 for the entire time. And I text you as soon as
Right.
Weston Wilson comes in and gets a hit. It's like already got more hits than Kody. Yeah, it was his second at bat, and it is what it is. What can we do? He gave us some exciting moments, but nothing more.
Hmm. Well, and I mean, the reality is Wilson's probably the better hitter, but Cody's the better defender, I would argue, and more versatile a defender because he can play infield and outfield. I saw enough of Wilson at third base last year to never want to see that again. He makes Alec Boehm look like a Gold Glove third baseman, so I'm good. I don't need to see that, but yeah, I think it's okay. I think Wilson could provide a little bit of pop for us off the bench, and that's not a bad
Yes.
thing. It's not going to turn this team into a juggernaut overnight. I mean, they should be just with the regulars they have anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's not shocking. But best wishes, Kody. You know.
Yeah, I agree there. Best wishes in Minnesota. Hopefully, you do some damage.
Well, and then I guess kind of flowing from that, now that Wilson is in the mix, it looks like there's going to be at least somewhat of a platoon in left field between him and Kepler. And they're not calling it that. They've been very clear about not wanting to call it a platoon,
Hmm.
but Kepler's not getting starts against left-handed pitching, really. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, you did bring him in to be your everyday left fielder, and I don't know that he's really had the
Right.
opportunity to face the lefties. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's your take on that? I mean, first of all, the idea of a platoon in left field, first of all, and then whether Kepler deserves a shot at being the everyday guy still.
I, I don't want it to be a waste of 10 million. He should be in the outfield every day. I mean, you're going to spell him once in a while.
Sure.
But of course, as soon as we saw that little article, Kepler's been hitting. I mean, he's been a little bit more consistent. He had a home run the
Yeah.
other day. He double too. He's putting the ball in play, and he's not grounding
Yeah.
into double plays. He's not striking out. So ever since he's been hitting, I mean, giving Wilson some chances against lefties, I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it should be an every time thing. Give Kepler his chances too.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the platoon of those two at this time, especially since you gave Kepler so much that for this 1 year, and he's got to
Right.
prove it.
Yeah. No, I think I'm right there with you. I'm fine. I think you have to look at the lefty you're facing, right? If it's a tough lefty, maybe then you put Wilson in to start the game. But if it's a guy who's got like a ERA of 5 or higher, let Kepler start the game. Let him get some
Sure.
ABs. If
I
it's
mean,
we're talking about a guy that's got a nasty slider that's really tough on lefties. Okay, fine, but there's plenty of left-handed pitchers that are mediocre, and if that's one of the guys you're talking about, yeah, let Kepler get his at bats because I agree with you. He has picked it up lately, not just with the home run this week, but he's putting the ball in, and he really has done decently well. I mean, I can't remember a span where he didn't get any hits. Like I haven't seen a span where he had like an 0 for 20. You know what I mean? Like he
right.
does put the ball in play and he does get on base. He takes his walks, and I mean, he's not blowing anybody out of the water. And you said it in our first episode. He's not a world beater, right?
Right.
He's not the guy that's going to change your lineup. But right now, I'm not disappointed in what he's given us, and I think his power will increase as the weather warms up. I mean, I really do. But otherwise, his contact numbers are fine with me. The batting average is kind of in the 250s right now. I'd like to see that get up into the 260s at least if we could. But
Mhm.
other than that, I'm not really
It's
disappointed in it.
it's like subtly better than we thought. He's hitting 258 right now. I just took a look. Um, I mean, it's. I thought he was hitting a lot lower than 258. It's like a quiet 258.
Yeah,
I mean, he hit a long home run. Like you're gonna hit to the deepest part of right field at Wrigley, like
right.
that.
Yeah.
Like it's so. I cut through the winds. That's a good sign. Maybe hopefully he can lift the ball here this week coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he I think that's that's the thing I think I'm a little bummed about. I thought maybe there'd be a bit more power. Maybe he'd have 4 or 5 homers by now. I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think he'd be at hitting his second home run right now. I was hoping for a little bit more, but aside from that, everything else is kind of where I expected it to be. I expected him to be about a 260, 265 hitter. So I mean, but yeah, Kepler. I feel like he's done what everyone expected him to do, minus maybe a little bit of the power. Right? I think that's about it.
As hitting season comes around, that will show up. I would
I
think.
agree. I think so. I think so. Um, so yeah, I guess do you want to move into studs and duds? I'm
Let's do
very
it.
curious to hear yours because this has been a an interesting week. So I'm very curious.
So I'm gonna give it to my guy, Bryson Stott. I mean, he's performing at the top of the order. He's getting on base. He even showed us a little power in the ninth against the Mets the other night. In the first
The
game of the
three
series,
run
it
homer.
was kind of was a rally killer, that home run though. But it was nice to see him swing the power bat, and he's right. He's putting the ball in play. He's getting on base. I mean, he's been great at the top there, and I'm excited to see it. I was leaning actually towards Joe Ross. I thought he did really well this week. He was throwing the ball well, and he came in huge. One of the nights, I forget what night it was. I think it was against the Mets as well. He held them where it was, and then somebody else came. It might have been Ruiz. He came in and let up a 3-run shot, but
Yep.
Ross kept it a 2-run game. And he kept us alive, and I thought that was a good sign for him. But it's I'm going with Bryson Stott as well here.
Okay. Fair enough. I can't argue with that. He's been very good in the leadoff spot, Bryson Stott. I think that's a good pick. So I'm actually going to go with Aaron Nola.
Okay.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably still mad at him for his start to the season. But, when you think about it, there's been at least 2 or 3 starts now where he's only given up 2 runs, including the earlier start this week against the Mets. He gave up the 2 runs. He gave up the almost home run to Soto that went foul
Yeah.
ultimately. But
Inches.
right, I mean, but he gave up. He's really, I think, like I said, 3 games. He's only given up 2 runs. Now he's had some stinkers in there as well. But last night he looked like himself in top form. That two seamer was he had full control of it. It was cutting back across the plate at the very last second where hitters just couldn't read it. That's when he's at his best, when he's got control of that two seam fastball. And the Cubs hitters really didn't know how to attack it. So I hope this continues.
Yeah.
I think he is a good pitcher. I don't buy all these people saying, he's done, he spent. I don't think that's true. I think he's got it. So hopefully this is the start of him picking things up. He didn't get the win last night just because of the nature of the game, but his ERA came down over a full point in the past week, including the Mets game actually. So
He was excellent last night,
yeah,
Sunday. So, I mean, and the run that he let up, I don't blame him at all. I am willing to blame that entire thing on Johan Rojas trying to make the exciting play when Casty could have got that ball. And then Carl Armstrong laces a double. It's what can you do? He shouldn't have let up any runs last night, in my opinion. So he could have gotten that win. It's a shame
yeah,
that the run support just wasn't there. Hey, we won the game anyway. That's great. So he did what he needed to do. He was excellent.
yeah, yeah. No, it was great to see. So, um, yeah. I mean, so that's that. So for what about for duds?
Uh,
What's your dud of the week?
Everybody else. So I'm not going to give it to coaching in particular, although Kevin Long is in mind on that one. I'm actually going to give it to Bryce. He what has he done for me lately? He last weekend he looked like he was about to set the world on fire, and then he just put up some stinkers. Was it 0 for 5 or something like that last night? And then that final at bat against Diaz, the night the start to hit the home
Yeah,
run. The approach was just awful.
Yeah.
He's swinging at pitches that were clear balls. I mean, defense. He's doing what he needs to do on defense. That's great. Offensive side needs to pick up. He's hitting way too low for me. He's hitting something like 230. Hopefully it picks up. He's getting on base with the walks. I just need to see some more hits out of him.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Other than the 10-run game where he had that big double, yeah, I don't. There's not much you can point to this week offensively that he did that was impressive, right?
Right.
So no, I can't argue with that. Um, I am going to go with. Honestly, I'm just going to go with Carlos Hernandez. I don't
Okay.
like. I just.
I don't like him
I
either.
He shouldn't be on a major league roster. Like he just doesn't look like he has any control over his pitches. Um, I can't get behind him staying on this team. So it's not just him, but he's just
No,
an easy one to go with right now. He's a
I
big
agree.
part of why this team is having issues when the starters go out there and pitch really well. And, you know, even if the offense, let's say they don't struggle a ton, but they get 4 or 5 runs, that's not always enough with this bullpen, including especially Carlos Hernandez. Romano, too. I mean, I know Romano got the save last
He
night, but I
pitched
mean,
well last night.
yeah, but I'm not sold that he's got it figured out because we've seen that before, too, from him
Right.
once or twice. So,
Settle.
yeah, this was an easy one for me to pick because
Mhm.
I think it's more of a collective problem than it is an individual problem right now. But yeah, I'm just going to say that that's not a great answer, honestly.
It's okay.
But yeah. I want him out of off the roster. There's no way this guy is on your roster come playoff time
No way.
because if he is, you're done. Like it's just not. You can't trust him. So yeah. But anyway, so that's studs and duds. Now, let's say we move on
This is
to
even more difficult.
pros and cons.
I mean, how can this be easy for any of us? I mean, I still really like the lineup configuration. I love Bryson up top. I like Trey batting 2 and Bryce
Yeah.
3 and Schwarber 4. Um, Schwarber's getting on base every game, literally every game this season.
Yep.
Um, it's this is really tough for me. It's like there's too much Jekyll and Hyde here. Like if it's not one thing, it's the other. A positive factor right now is Alec Boehm is starting to heat up. He's making contact, making solid contact. Yes,
Yep.
he's still grounding into double plays, but he's lifting a ball a bit. He's hitting more line drives. He's getting hits, so he's brought the average up a little bit, and I'm happy to see that. I didn't want him to swing at that first pitch in extras Sunday night. He did, but he did what he needed to do. He got the ball deep into the outfield to secure a run scored there.
And in
So
another park or another night, that could have been a grand slam.
that
You
could have
know,
been, and it was windy as all get out in
it's
Chicago
Chicago,
the entire weekend. So what can you expect?
right?
It was Wrigley to its core, I guess.
Yeah.
What do you got for pros?
For pros, I'm just going to say the starting pitching.
Okay.
Generally, I mean, they pretty much still are giving them a chance in really every game. Sanchez obviously went down early in his outing against the Mets, and that really spent the bullpen. But I can't really fault the starting rotation for the most part. I mean, they're giving this team a chance, and we said this at the
Right.
beginning of the year that they were going to do that. They're giving the team a chance, and if Nola can get back into form, they're going to be very tough
Close. Yeah.
throughout the year. So I'm just yeah. I mean, for me, that's the pro.
And,
It's the unanimous for me pro of the
okay.
team right now.
Yeah. And Rangers getting close too.
Exactly. Yeah, he had a couple, I think 1 or 2 rehab starts, and apparently he looked good. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, he can't arrive a moment too soon.
Right.
We need him
At this point. At this point. Right.
exactly. So
Uh,
go ahead. So who do you have as your con right now?
it's just the offense in general. They showed the offense overall, I guess you can say. They
Hmm.
showed some life on Saturday when they picked up 10 runs. Like, that was great to see. So a couple of crooked numbers. Um, you know, a liability right now is Rojas again. Like, he couldn't lay down a bunt and then proceeds to ground into a double play in a crucial moment.
Yeah.
That was terrible. I was this close to making him my dud of the week. And I think I don't know what Kevin Long's teaching them right now as far as approaches go. Against the Mets, they were absolutely horrendous. There were moments where they looked completely lost. They're striking out when they haven't been striking out lately. Sure, they've been still walking more, but the strikeouts and the run production in crucial moments, the productive outs, just weren't there at all. So it's the overall offensive approach. Sure, there's a couple bright spots in Stott and this week a little bit with Bohm. But that's about it. I mean, Kepler's picking it up, and JT got a couple hits. We're getting there, just not quick enough.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I am too. It's the inconsistency of the offense is how I'm going to kind of classify it. Not the offense generally, because they have talent, and we saw it on Saturday. You know, they're hitting, they can hit the ball, and when they're on, they're dangerous. But for me, it's the inconsistency from day to day. One day they're struggling to scratch across a run. Next day they're putting up 10 or 11 runs, and it's like that can't be how you do things. You know, it's got to be
Right.
it's got to be more consistent than that, especially with this group that's built on a powerful offense. You're supposed to be able to outslug teams, and they're not doing that.
If you have a lineup with Alec Boehm hitting eighth, you should be producing a lot more than one run or 0 runs.
Yep.
Especially against the Mets, they looked, they looked inferior against the Mets. The Mets looked like the far better team overall.
Well, and then the Nats matched up really well against the Mets. After that series, they were, I think they had 2 walk-off wins against them, if I remember.
Walk-off error, but
yeah. But hey, they got it done. I mean, there was life
did.
there. The Phillies were just going through the motions in New York, and it was so frustrating. That was the most frustrating series of the season for me to watch.
It was brutal. I had a hard time too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I think we're on the same page with the con for sure there. That they just need to be more consistent. So we'll see what happens here. And then I do want to get to one more thing, which is there was a lot of discussion in the offseason or at the end, as the last season came to the end, when it was clear the Phillies were probably going to be eliminated, and shortly thereafter about what should be done. With the coaching staff. A lot of people wanted Topper fired. I was not one of them. I think he has earned his chance at a full season again this year. Again, unless they just go straight into the toilet. Right. But other than that, I mean, he's been one of the winningest managers we've had. I mean, he has been the winningest manager we've had since Charlie Manuel. So that wasn't where my head went, but I did advocate for Kevin Long to be released because he's had this team for 3 years. These hitters, pretty much all of these hitters, have been on there for 3 years, and the inconsistency continues. Now, is it fair to say that's all on K Long? Maybe not. They are professional hitters, and they should be able to hit the ball. But there's something to me. There's got to be something with the approach because they as a group, they fall into these funks far too frequently, where they're chasing pitches, they're not looking for their pitch, and right now they're as a team walking less and striking out more. Whereas earlier in the year, that was the opposite; they were walking more and striking out less, and that's when they were playing well. So there's a correlation there, and I have to think there's something to do with Kevin Long's approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess so. My question is that if they continue to struggle to be consistent offensively, is that a move that the team should consider?
He's the first one to go, in my opinion. Kevin Long is the first one to go if this keeps up. I mean, there's nobody else I can point blame at. Topper's doing what he can. It's just Kevin Long's not telling them what they're supposed to be doing. He's not coaching, from what we can tell. He's not giving them what the approaches should be in these situations. Yeah. It's pretty bad to watch Casty swing at that first pitch. That's a down and away slider. And like the swinging at the first pitch is a problem for me. Like you see Bohm do it a lot. You're seeing JT do it, and they're getting on top of the ball and they're hitting choppers to third base, so it's an easy double play. It's a problem to me. So Kevin Long needs to get on his game and figure out what in the world he needs to do to fix this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he it because like you said, Topper can only do he can only play the players he has, and obviously he has to make decisions on matchups and the lineup and all of that stuff and when to take pitchers out, and that is important. But that's not what's losing them games right now. What's losing them games is the poor bullpen and the hitters not being consistent. And the
True.
consistency thing is not on the manager. Topper does not, he doesn't control that. The hitting coach though definitely has more of an input there. And so I'm hoping that they figure something out here, but I just don't like Kevin Long's record here in terms of the consistency, because we've seen this in every season so far that he's been here. The up, the down, up, down, up, down. It's
Right.
just a matter if they're up at the right time. And in 22, they were up at the right time and they went all the way to the World Series. So each subsequent year, they fell off at the wrong time. So,
Right.
you
And we're
know,
seeing that failure early on. So
right,
hopefully it's a good sign, for things to come. Like I can get hot again at the right time. But you don't want to fall too far behind. I know it's April, but you can't fall. You can fall too far behind really quick.
right. And Bryce made a good point the other day. He said, "Look, I'm tired of hearing it's only April." Like he's not making that excuse, and I do give him props for that, because it would be easy to say, we're not worried. It's just April. I'm fine with him saying they're not worried. I don't want him to say they're panicking, obviously, but it's a good thing that he's not thinking that way. Like, it's only April, we'll be fine. He knows they need to get this thing going in the right direction now. Like he's not like, we'll figure it out in a couple
Right.
months, and that's a
Right.
good thing. But
Yeah. So
that
like
being said, they do need to figure it out.
yeah, they need to show that urgency. So who knows what's going to happen?
Well, and I'm not convinced that this is the turnaround necessarily. I think I already might have mentioned that, but I need to see this in a couple of series consecutively
Yeah.
where they are playing 9 innings of baseball and they're fighting it out, and they're doing what they're executing. I need to
And
see that.
and I really don't think the Nats are going to be an easy matchup this week. I mean, they've been playing fairly well. Like James Wood is coming along. Like Abrams is hitting the ball. They're doing what they need to do, and they're putting out a Gore tomorrow, and
And
we struggled against him clearly
yep,
in game one. So that's not going to be an easy series. And then you got the D-backs after that. And
yep,
that's not going to be easy either. And they've been playing well. They're a team that could be a first place in any division almost, but they're unfortunately for them
in the West,
in the
yeah,
West. But they're a good team too, and Marte kills us. So
yeah.
and Gurriel kills us. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Well, then
Hopefully it's a good series though. Yeah, yeah,
Suarez had that 4 home run game the other
yeah,
night. Was it?
yeah.
I mean, that's a rare feat, but
Right.
yeah, and actually, my wife and I are going to the opening game of that Diamondback series. So that
Nice.
that'll be an interesting matchup, and hopefully, like you said, they've kind of gotten back to playing better ball by then, because that team is not going to be very beatable if you're kind of in this inconsistent, muddling through phase.
Well,
And the Nats are coming off of a series where they probably feel really good about themselves. So, and if
and
I'm the Phillies, I don't know that I feel good about myself after. I mean, yeah, you beat a good team, but I don't know that they. I mean, other than Saturday, even last night, the offense really wasn't that good last night. I
right,
mean, they got the win. The starting pitching did its job, and ultimately the bullpen did too.
they
Although
did.
there were probably several cardiac events from fans watching that
Yes.
bullpen. But yeah, I if I'm the Phillies as the team, I'm not coming back home like, yeah, we've got this figured out. No, we've got work to do still. Like, let's get back home and maybe
Yes.
build our confidence, because it is
Yeah.
at home and we do tend to play better at home. But we got to get this thing going
Well,
here.
let us hope, and I'm glad there's going to be another unfiltered at the ballpark um, this coming week.
Yes. So that, I believe, brings us to Jim's favorite
Is
segment.
Is it that time for Guess
I
That
believe
Philly?
it is. It is that time.
All right. Well, Brent, while we're on the subject of the bullpen, I got a bullpen piece for you today. I'm just going to preface it with that.
Okay.
So I do have a right-handed arm who had I completely forgot 2 stints with the Phillies. He was a pitcher in the major leagues from 1999 to 2013. He was part of the 2008 World Series club. He was with the Phillies from 2008 to 2010 and also in 2013. Yes, he was number 37 in the early part of that stint. In the second stint, he was number 45, I believe.
Okay.
This guy is a suggestion of the wife, so it was exciting to put this one out there. He posted a 3.98 ERA in 210 appearances with the Phils. That's what I'm showing. It's 210 games. At least it's showing.
Okay.
12-7 was the record overall, as well as 242 innings pitched. He did record 3 saves in those years. I can throw the other teams at you if you need.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right. So he started with the Royals. Wound up in Cleveland, Arizona, Detroit. Did spend some time in Atlanta. He was with the Tigers before the Phils. This is in 2006, 2007. He was with the Tigers before joining the Phils in 2008.
Man.
He was pretty good in 2008, 2.87 ERA.
And he was a relief pitcher, you said,
yes, he
right?
was a relief pitcher. It was a 5-7 record that year as well.
Right-handed.
I'm sorry, 5-4 record. My apologies.
Right-handed relief pitcher.
Yes, sir.
I remember most of that bullpen pretty well, but this. The first, you said 37.
37 was the number.
The first number 37 that came to mind was Riel Cormier, but I know he was left-handed.
And he was not on that team.
Yeah, he was before that, I believe. So I want to say he was like an early, or like a long relief or middle relief guy.
Yes, he wasn't like crucial. Like he wasn't
Right.
back end. He wasn't back end.
Well, yeah, because I'm thinking, we had Lidge, we had Madsen, we had J.C. Romero. I remember all, and Scott Air. That bullpen was loaded.
He played a part, though. I remember him coming into games and doing what he needed to do.
Yeah. At first, when you said 37, and I don't even know if this is the right number, I was going to say J.D. Durbin, too, but I think he was...
So, before you go further, you're very, 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 very close with that name.
Oh, really?
Yes. You're very, very close. Possibly the correct last name.
Did I pick the wrong Durbin?
Yes, you did.
I might be mixing up my my Durbin.
You're mixing up your Durbins.
I knew we had a Durbin around them, but why am
we did. We had a pretty decent one too. Is this a stumper?
I mean, it seems like it partially is. I had the Durbin part, but
you did.
I think this is just me getting old and mixing up first names, but and it just went away again. I almost had it. God.
Yeah. After Shane Victorino, this was the wife's favorite.
I forget the first name.
You ready?
Didn't he have a goatee? He had like a soul patch goatee.
Yes, sir.
I know him. I just can't think of his first name.
You ready?
Yeah.
It's the Chad Durbin.
Chad Durbin. So J.D. Durbin was he later? He was later on?
I think so. Yeah, he was some random guy.
I knew, and that's probably why I remember the JD, because it was more recent. But yes, So I'll take a partial L on that,
Yes.
because at
Okay.
least I got the Durbin part.
That's
But
fine.
and
That's fine.
I obviously remembered his face because I knew he had the soul patch goatee.
So everybody, when we post the records of Guess That Phillie, you will see a 0.5 for Brent.
That's fair.
I mentioned to the wife today how old Chad Durbin is now. He's 47, and I think she was like dumbfounded. It's like, really? Like, she thought he was still playing. Like, he was really young, it seemed.
Well, yeah, I thought he was too. When did he get? And he played for that many teams before us.
Yeah, he was
had
drafted
no
by the
idea.
Royals. I had no idea either, and I completely forgot about the second stint in 2013.
Yeah, I don't remember most of that, but
those are lean years.
He did come to me at earlier on when you were talking too, and then when you mentioned all those teams, I'm like, nah, he was pretty young when we had him. So I was thinking the same way she was in that regard. But
it's crazy.
That was a good one though. That was a good one. But that was that's sort of how my mom answers things. Like, the guy with the thing, he had the it's like, I know him. I can't give you the full name.
You can see his face. I know his last name.
Yeah,
it's not Matt Beach, but it's close enough.
I don't think there will never be another Matt Beach.
No, there will not.
Well, thank you, Jim. That was a fun one. I enjoyed that.
No problem. Does that wrap us up?
It does wrap us up.
All right. Well, folks, don't forget you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also follow us on Facebook at Phillies Unfiltered Podcast, Instagram at Phillies Unfiltered, X/Twitter at Funfiltered. That's PHUNPHILTERD. And you can also watch us on YouTube at Phillies Unfiltered Podcast.
Awesome.
Yes, you like that. I had a little applause there.
I saw. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And here's to a more consistent week from the Phillies ahead.
Yes, please.
All right. And with that.
All right. As always,
go Phils.
Go Phils.
See ya.